Hi, my name is Stephen Bay, founder and CEO of EarthUp. As many of you already know, currently emissions are reported into three different scopes. Scope 1 emissions is the emissions generated when you create products or a service that your company offers. Scope 2 emissions are emissions generated from the energy usage to create those products or services. And Scope 3 emissions is the embodied carbon, the transportation, and the supply chain emissions that goes into the products or services that your company offers. But when you look at sustainability holistically, these three scopes are missing something. They don't involve the people. Scope 4 emissions is your employees' emissions from when they leave the office until they return. And over the next 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to learn why involving your employees and understanding the emissions that they generate outside the office will help create an improved productivity amongst your employees, will help you solve and magnify your corporate sustainability goals, and will create a more healthy, resilient workforce while doing so. Over the last 7 to 8 years, my team and I have completed over 30,000 in-home energy and health assessments in the Pacific Northwest. And we were amazed to see the amount of homes that we went into that were hazardous for their occupants, extremely uncomfortable, and also were not cost effective. And this wasn't just for low-income homes. This is homes across the entire socioeconomic spectrum. We went into homes of Amazon employees. We went into homes of Microsoft employees, of Google employees. And one of the things that we saw in all of these different homes was air quality issues, efficiency issues, and overall comfort issues for the occupants. Through these home energy assessments, we were able to educate and really understand what motivates individuals to take action. It wasn't sustainability, but what it was improving the comfort, reducing costs, and improving the health of their homes. And once we understood how to motivate the end users, we're able to communicate more effectively and drive action. And it was amazing to see the impact we made with those 30,000 homes. We reduced energy costs by over $1.25 million per year for the residents that we went into. We were also able to reduce over 105,000 metric tons of CO2 emission. And what this got us thinking is, hey, when we solve their problems, when we solve residents' problems, and we're able to actually make them more comfortable, make them spend less money on energy, and reduce air quality issues inside the home, we're actually able to solve environmental problems as well, reduce emissions, create healthier residents, really drive impact for communities as a whole. And this is where we really started thinking, okay, who can we involve in this mission of ours to really scale this impact? Because right now when we were doing those homes, we were working with utilities and residents. Who else could we bring to the table to really expand and magnify the impact? And this is when we went over and approached Stacy Smedley and said, hey, Stacy, let's run a pilot and see the results. We ran a pilot with Stacy where we connected employees to different utility programs that were available. And we also showed the employer, Stacy and her team, sustainability information about how employees are commuting, what their work from home situation looks like, what their home situation looks like, so that she would have information to create strategies around how to solve employees' emissions from when they leave the office until they return. But not only that, what resources are already available to help solve that mission, to help Skanska reduce their employees' impact. And it was a great, great success. Skanska employees saw a variety of benefits when partaking in our pilot. They improved the comfort of their home. They were healthier at home. They started understanding what indoor air quality is and how it impacts them so that they can make decisions accordingly. And you started to see employees coming into the office and asking the employer, what can we do to help support the sustainability mission? What can we do to push forward the sustainability goals of Skanska? Involving your employees in your sustainability mission and starting to account for Scope 4 emissions really opens up a whole new avenue when it comes to employee engagement, opportunity to reduce emissions, and the impact that your company can have when it comes to sustainability. What we really started to understand through the pilot we launched with Stacy was that if we solve these individuals' problems and we make them more comfortable, we make them more healthy, and we reduce their costs at home, they start to really understand that you do not need to make sacrifices to live sustainably. You don't have to be a vegan to live sustainably. You just have to be aware of what's available. You have to be aware of actions that you can take, and then you need to take those actions in a simple way to solve your own problems. And just by being selfish and solving your own problems, you're also contributing to reducing your environmental impact. And organizations are uniquely situated to educate people about this, to educate their employees about this, to really start to involve their employees and drive impact across their employee base, which will then magnify and contribute significantly to their sustainability goals.
Hi, I'm Derek Six, Chief Business Officer at Climeco Corporation, an environmental market solutions provider. In the absence of federal leadership on greenhouse gas policy over the last couple of years, it's been inspiring how companies have stepped up big time. They've made increasing commitments. They've come to Climeco asking how to better quantify their emissions, how to make internal emission reductions, and how to offset the emissions that they can't reduce. It's been amazing. But I think we're always looking for better ways to do quantifications, more ways to make a bigger impact, and exciting new solutions. And one of the exciting new solutions on the horizon right now is taking a better look at employee emissions and what can be done about them. Like many of you, I'm working from a home office today. In fact, since March, almost all of the Climeco employees have been working from home. It's gone relatively smoothly so far, surprisingly so. I think some of them are actually happier and more productive at home than they were coming into the office each day. But it's raised an interesting question for me about emissions. Each year, Climeco Corporation quantifies its emissions. We do what we can to reduce our emissions ourselves, and then we offset the rest. I suspect when we do the quantification this year for 2020, our emissions will have dropped substantially. In part, of course, due to less travel and less conference attendance physically, but also because of the offices being dark, because of less use of electricity, less purchases of heating and cooling energy, less purchases of supplies. And that started to get me thinking about when I do the emissions quantification for 2020, what is it that I'm really finding? Has Climeco been successful at reducing its emissions? Or have we transferred those emissions to our employees and our employees' homes? And what responsibility do we have for those emissions? Recently, Stacy and Stephen introduced me to the idea of Scope 4 emissions, which is a particularly relevant concept right now, given all of the employees at Climeco that are working at home. I'm fascinated by the idea that there could be a new and better way of accounting for emissions at companies, and one that allows them to cast a wider net, so to speak, in order to make emission reductions in their communities. I think that the solutions to employee emissions are often solutions that are also tied to employee health, employee comfort, employee money savings, and therefore there's a good business case for employee retention, employee productivity.
Scope 4 is a way of thinking. It's a way of holistically approaching sustainability. By engaging your employees on sustainability and having them switch from a plastic to a bamboo toothbrush, or installing attic insulation so that they're more comfortable and it reduces their energy use, therefore reduces their emissions, we understand that that's not going to stop climate change. But what that is going to do, it's going to drive your employees across an adoption curve. It's going to make them aware of what's going on. And when you have aware employees that are passionate, you're actually going to create impact communities inside your employee base that drive real change. So essentially what you're doing is you're taking people that are on the fence and you're driving them down an adoption curve so that they become your allies and your warriors when it comes to your sustainability commitments as an organization. Involving your employees in your sustainability commitments and engaging in reporting Scope 4 emissions opens up a ton of other benefits for corporations and their employees. The EPA says that we have a problem in the United States, and it's called sick building syndrome. They actually say that this is one of the top 5 environmental health concerns. And what is sick building syndrome? Sick building syndrome evolved with energy codes. As we started to make homes tighter, so that they're more energy efficient, it costs less to heat and cool them, we actually started trapping a lot of contaminants inside the home. Essentially, this is what sick building syndrome is. And not very many people are aware of it, but a lot of people are impacted by it. So by going out there and educating your employees about sick building syndrome and providing solutions for them, you're going to improve employee productivity, you're going to reduce sick days, you're going to have happier, healthier families that these employees go home to. And that's just to name a few. Basically, by engaging employees in Scope 4 emissions, you're able to take wellness principles that we've used in brick and mortar locations for a while, and we're able to transfer those over to employees' homes and start to solve the same problems that we've solved in brick and mortar locations for years. The other benefit that you're going to have is you're going to be able to tell your employees incentives that are available, right? And this is something that our company does. We build something that basically allows employees to understand what incentives are available. Our first customers, their employees average $2,000 worth of incentives that are available for them through city, through utilities, and through state programs that they're not aware of. And we've just scratched the surface. Scope 1, 2, and 3 are very important, but they're not a holistic approach to sustainability. Generally, in Scope 1, 2, and 3, a very small amount of employees are engaged. Know about what the commitments are. Understand how reporting works. So you're taking these corporate goals of yours, and you're really only involving a handful of people in solving these problems. When you expand to Scope 4 emissions, you're leveraging all your employees to magnify your sustainability impact. It's going to increase your sustainability across all scopes. It's going to help generate new ideas for you. It's going to help focus where you guys put your effort and your time as an organization. So as organizations start to look at how they can holistically approach sustainability, we believe Scope 4 is a no-brainer.